So this is going to be a first video in a series of maybe 3 videos, possibly 4. For this video, you're going to need these yoga tune-up balls that you guys have. Grab however many sizes you have. I believe you have all 3 of these, so if you can find all 3 of them, have them all available so you can try out what works for you, and have that green strap handy. So we're going to work on the 2 muscles that feed into your IT band today. Your TFL, your tensor fascia lata, and your gluteus maximus. The reason why the IT bands become tight and sensitive on people is because these 2 muscles are in charge of 2 very important and very large actions. Your TFL is small in size but really mighty and is in charge of hip flexion, of pulling your knee, your leg up, and gluteus maximus is in charge of kicking your leg back for the most part. They have other detailed movements as well, but those are the 2 major movements. So basically, or what I'm trying to point out, is that your IT band, which is a tendon, is a part of a muscle or 2 muscles that do the exact opposite action: hip flexion and hip extension. So they are tight on a lot of people, particularly athletes. So what I would like to do today is learn how to use the balls to release the muscles, release the fascia, and some stretching. And this is not going to be very yoga-like. This is going to be very therapeutic. One of my recommendations is to use these balls for the tensor fascia lata or TFL and gluteus maximus before you roll your IT band out with a foam roller. That might mean use these balls and do these exercises immediately before you roll out your IT band. Or it might mean do these exercises with these balls on your TFL and gluteus maximus for a while, a day, 3 days, a week or so, before you get back on the IT band, on the foam roller on your IT band. I think Jocelyn comes once a week, so using the balls in combination with her, eventually the IT band will be nearly as sensitive when you roll it out, and you'll be able to get deeper into the tissue. So this video is going to be longer than it will take you to do these exercises once you memorize them, so just bear with me as we learn, and then going forward, hopefully you don't need the video, you can just do the exercises. I would do this every day. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Again, you'll learn it, and you could probably condense it down to somewhere between 5 and 8 minutes. Maybe you pick one of the exercises and do them in the morning and do the other one in the evening. You can do them standing in your kitchen while your mom is making dinner. I'll show you the ones that you can do in that instance. This is not something you have to say, hey, I'm going to the gym and stretching. This can be done in other random circumstances, so at least you're getting it in every day. So the balls vary in size, obviously, and in density. Brand new balls are really firm. So if you have new balls, you're going to have to figure out which one is the most comfortable. I have very old balls. It's funny stuff. So these balls are actually really sort of soft and squishy at this point and don't give me a lot of feedback. This ball is really hard to squish, so it actually is a little bit more intense right now. That being said, it's a bigger ball, it's a bigger surface area. It could be less intense if these balls are newer and firmer. I'm also going to use the bigger ball in the videos, in this video, because it's easier to see than me lying down on top of this, but just play around with it. There's no right or wrong answer for which ball is best. So first we're going to roll out the gluteus maximus. This can be done lying down or standing. Standing, again, is something you can do in the kitchen while you're hanging out with your family. It's not something that you have to do in the gymnasium. So if you would like to do it lying down because it's more intense and more comfortable, obviously you need the space to do that. So you're going to lie. I'm going to show you on the right side first. Lie down with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor, and the ball basically goes underneath your butt and you roll around. I'm only doing my right cheek. So I'm going from my hip socket over to my sacrum and back, and the ball's going to move all around. You want to cover the whole area of your glute. Gluteus maximus is the most superficial or the most outside muscle, so yes, you will be massaging other tissues, other muscles. But the good thing is if you basically just move the ball around all over your cheek, you're going to release gluteus maximus. So you want to do this just all over the place, warming up the tissue first. Side to side, hips side to side. And as you're doing this, you're going to notice there's some tender points. So after you've warmed up the tissue for 30 seconds or so, you would find the sensitive spot and then just be there. So you can just be there by taking slow, steady breaths and allowing your body to release onto the ball. You can also push down into the ball. I would try both techniques. I would do both techniques. They both have a purpose. Pushing into the ball, immediate feedback. Breathing into the ball allows you to relax all the muscles in your body. If you think about when Jocelyn does her work on you, you know, the habit is to get tense, and then the muscles, even the muscles she's trying to release, everything kind of gets held. And if you breathe deeply and just let everything kind of let go, then you get that, that release. So sitting, lying, breathing, and allowing your body weight to release into the ball. Excellent technique, as well as pushing down with your feet and kind of pushing your butt down into the ball. And you're going to find several tender spots. So you roll around, find a new tender spot, and do the same thing. You could intensify it by trying to lift your foot. It might barely get off the floor, especially as you start off. It might be able to draw up. You can move your knee in and out. You can move both legs over as you go side to side. It's pretty intense when you get like all the way to like that outside, like over by the hip socket, over by that bone there, and try to drop both knees over. I feel that in my groin right now. That's really intense. So that's how you roll out your hip. Let's do it on the other side. I might be rushing through this. You might like that. You might want to still be there right now, pause the video, and then turn around. So ball goes under your left side. Again, first you warm up the tissue, just side to side, moving all around. Once the tissue is warm, 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to remember or feel again where those tender points are. And once you're on the tender points, you're going to practice taking 5, 6, maybe 10 deep breaths, allowing the body to release. I feel this in my left foot. So those trigger points can be felt in the immediate area of where the ball is, or it can be felt into the foot. You can push down with your feet, kind of push your butt into the ball. Find a new spot, or maybe you're still in that same spot, but you want to do more techniques. You could try to lift your foot and lower. I really like this area. You start to get into gluteus maximus. It's basically like, not really at your lower back, but more north of your cheek, a little bit higher up. And you really start to get into a couple of the gluteus muscles, maximus and medius, especially as you roll the ball over towards the outside of your hip. And you can try to move the knee. You can try and lift the foot. You can try and drop both knees. That's really tender for me on this side. I can't move my knees too far to the left on this side. So you could also do this at the wall. Same technique. Take the ball, put it between your cheek and the wall. You walk your feet away from the wall so you're squatting a little bit. And then you rest your shoulders back, rest your head back, and then you just move. Side to side, repositioning as you need. You can kind of chug here, like squat, do little mini squats, and kind of rub out the muscle that way. You can find that tender spot, reposition so that you can balance on the one foot, and then just, maybe lift the leg and play with that. I like this wall technique for like standing in the kitchen, like I said. So you got the ball around, making muffins in the mom's making muffins in the morning, or you're, you know, whatever, watching TV, you stand up. I also like it for that area. So this is like your hip socket, right? Where the bone meets your thigh bone, your hips meet your thigh bone. Like right off of that, kind of get a little sideways, almost like you're skiing, and roll out angled this way. That's pretty intense. So again, that's right on the more lateral or outer side of that hip, and you got to be a little more angled for that, and then you rub out that way by bobbing here. So that's ball exercises for your gluteus maximus. TFL, it's a small muscle, so it's a little more difficult to pinpoint, especially without me being there to say, maybe move it a little bit this way or adjust that way. The tell here is that it is really intense, like kind of awful. So it's millimeters of a difference. If you're not feeling awful, if you're not feeling a really intense muscle release, you're not on it. This is a great place for the smaller ball, especially if the smaller ball is firm. So if you have a bunch of these at home, try to find the one that's not squishy. This is easier to find the muscle. It's gonna get lost in the video just because it's so small, but I do just wanna show you how to find the location. So your hip points, right, these bones, these hip points, you basically wanna put the ball on your hip point and then roll off of it a little bit down towards your knee. Not way down, just on the hip point and then roll off of it. And then once you lie down, you're gonna have to find that spot. It might be a little bit closer to your butt, right? So off your hip point and a little bit closer to your butt, and we'll find that as we lie down. So you put the ball here. If you think you can find it once you're lying down, you don't have to hold it the whole time. But you come and you lie down on the side of your body, and you come, and the lower you get with your body, the more intense it is. So you might be here to start, resting right hip, resting on right arm, knees bent. If you can get all the way down eventually, see how slow I'm moving? So millimeters. I typically, once I'm reclined, you're gonna take your left knee, your top leg, and again, you can do this from here, move it slightly forward. That's just gonna help you tip a little with your hips forward and move the ball a little bit back. It also is more stable. So if you can get down, you lie down here, and you'll know you're on it because it's super intense. But again, you might have to tip slightly forward, slightly backwards. You might have to move a little bit up towards your head. I think that's most typical for people, that once they lie down, they kind of have to adjust the body. So you just creep slightly more towards your head and you lie here. My right hip has the ball on my right hip. My right knee is pretty bent right now. You can try to straighten your right leg, see how that feels. You can bend it and stay there instead. And then I'm gonna turn around, and you would just lie here for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna do this on my left side, and I'm gonna show you the option that you can do to make it deeper once you're comfortable. So again, to find it, you're on your hip point, you roll off your hip point down towards your knee, maybe a little bit towards your butt. I'm gonna turn around, you're gonna lie down, putting the weight on that ball. Maybe you're here today. Right knee, top leg comes in front. Maybe you can lie all the way down. Now my left side is super sensitive, so I barely feel anything right now. I know I'm not on it. And then all I did is just moved my body slightly more towards my head, and now I'm in that sort of excruciating, hard to breathe kind of place. If you wanted to intensify it, this is my left leg, the ball is under my left hip. You would try to bend your left knee more. You don't need to bring your heel to your butt, just bend your left knee more and try to stay there. And the doozy is, try to lift your heel and lower it back down. See if you can lift your heel, which kind of tips you a little bit forward, and lower back down. can do that lifting and lowering, from up here. It's a little more awkward. I feel really congested in my waist, but you can give it a try. I like to be able to figure out how to get down. Getting down and getting up is more intense than lying down, but like that transition, you're like pushing on the ball, really messed up, really tight. So that's the ball work that you would do for TFL and gluteus maximus before your IT band. Eventually those two exercises, you can do them both lying down, gluteus maximus, TFL, take you a total of 5 minutes, then hop on the foam roller. Again, you might want to do this for a few days or a week or so, get those muscles more loose, and then reintroduce the foam roller after that. The stretching that you can do for your gluteus maximus and your TFL, again, lying down, I'll show you some standing exercises. Sometimes being on your knees bothers people. Sometimes lying on your back, is difficult for whatever reason. Maybe you're feeling real crunch. So standing is an alternative for a couple of exercises. Let's do TFL first. So TFL, you can do kneeling, and you might want to do this with a wall nearby. So I'm going to kneel here, step my right foot in front, my left knee is in back. So my right ankle and knee are stacked, my left hip and knee are stacked, the wall is here if I need it. I'm just in this right angle shape. And you're going to tuck your butt under. So this is sticking your butt out. This is me posterior tilt, trying to tuck my butt under, tight abs, and get tall. So it's easy to sort of tuck your butt and tighten your abs, and you kind of get hunched or rounded here. The goal is to be nice and tall. Tuck your hip, tight abs, super tall. Get really, really tall in your body. That might be plenty. Just tucking your hips and getting tall, feeling like you're pulling your waist up out of your hips. You might need to lean forward ever so slightly. So maybe walk your right foot forward and then ever so slightly move so that your left hip is now slightly forward of your left knee. And again, tuck your hip, squeeze your abs, and get tall. I'm going to show you this exact same stretch. Left foot in front, right knee down. Right angles, knee and ankle stacked, knee and hip, hip and knee and ankle. Wall here if I need it, hands on your thighs otherwise. Tuck your hip under. Now when you're tight in your hip, so I'm not sure, I don't recollect which side of yours was bothering you more than the other, but when you're a little tighter, the tendency is that your body pulls open. So your hips turn away from your front knee. So be square first, excuse me, as if your hips had flashlights on it and were shining at the wall in front of you perfectly straight. So that might be the work in and of itself, trying to get square. Once you're square, tuck your butt, tighten your abs, get really tall. You want to feel it. You're going to feel it. Maybe you'll feel some in your quad, but it's like upper thigh and up over that hip point. Get really, really tall. If you need a little more stretch, you walk your front foot forward a little bit, slightly forward with your hips, same thing. Tuck your butt, try to get super square, squeeze your abs, feel it all over the top of your thigh and over your hip flexors. To make it a little more specific to your TFL, you would cross that position. You would just, same kneeling, just crisscross. So you would take your front foot, in this case it's still my left foot, and walk it over the right. Maybe move your right knee a little bit over to the left and do the same thing. Tuck, squeeze your abs, get really tall, and maybe lean forward a little bit. If this bothers your knee, do not do it. But this gets a little more lateral. Show that on the other side. Right foot in front, walk it way over to the left. Maybe hop your left knee to the right. Tuck your butt under. Squeeze your abs, get really tall, and then maybe tip forward. I'm not collapsing. I'm not moving my ribs forward. I am squeezing my butt, tucking it under, and then taking this whole left leg and trying to move it forward slightly. You can do this exact same thing standing up. So you would want the same crisscross. So the leg that's stretching is your back leg. Your right foot is in front, you move it over to the wall, your left foot goes to the left, you lunge a little bit into your front leg, you tuck your butt under. I really like this standing. I think it accesses the hip flexors quite nicely. There's no pressure on the knees. It's really easy to do. Again, you can do it anywhere. So tuck your butt, squeeze your abs, feel like you're being stretched up, lean forward. You'll turn around when you're doing it standing. So you'll have your left foot crossed in front, your right hand is on the wall. Walk your left foot toward the wall. Your right foot is behind. Bend into that front leg a little bit. Tuck your butt, right? Take your butt, tuck it under, squeeze your abs, and then move the front of your right thigh slightly forward. And you'll notice what side, like my left side is all jacked up. It's way different than my right side. So those are your TFL stretches. There's one other one you can do, and I'll do it at the very end. I'm going to switch to gluteus maximus real quick. Gluteus maximus, hip flexor, you know this stretch is a figure 4. You can have a strap handy. Do the figure 4, crossing right ankle over left knee. Maybe just move side to side here. Maybe lift and lower. And then a static hold would be to take your strap. You can use your hands, so it's right leg stretching, right arm through the hole, grab your left thigh and pull. But if this is happening where you're lifting or your chin is just lifting way up, better to use the strap. Put that through the hole, go around the back thigh, left thigh, and then use that to pull you into the stretch. Same thing on your left side, right knee bent, foot to floor, left ankle over right knee. See how my left side's tighter? I can't open it into that, this knee's in more. Every side's different. You can rock. Right? You can lift and lower. You can thread your hands or the strap around non-stretching leg and pull. Step 2, do your right leg first, left knee bent, foot to floor, pull your right knee bent in towards your chest, and cross it over the body. I'm not doing a deep twist, my right hip is lifting, but I'm not doing a deep twist, I'm just crossing the right knee so it points towards my left shoulder. You could stay like this, or you can straighten your left leg down, and then try to draw your right knee towards your left armpit. Same thing other side. Start with the knees bent, feet to floor. Hug your left knee in. Try to touch your left knee, or cross it rather, over towards your right shoulder. Stay like this, or do it with the right leg straight. Drawing the knee in, and you're drawing it over. The third stretch that you would do would be pigeon, which is a yoga pose. And I'll show you from a couple of angles. We're gonna do it from all fours. You come to all fours, you bring your right knee to your right wrist, then you move your right foot in front of your left knee. So now there's an angle here, and then you walk your left leg back until you can't walk it back any further, and then you move to your forearms. Do not want to feel this in your knee. You might feel it in your quad. We're hoping to feel it in our right hip. I'll show you that from another angle for your left side. So you would start on all fours, left knee to left wrist, and walk your left foot in front of your knee. Now you have an angle here, and you walk your right leg back, and you come down onto your forearms. What I'm not doing is rolling to my left or tipping over to my right. I am perfectly square with my hips, and I'm hoping to feel this in my left hip, not my knee. That's pigeon pose, and I would hold it for 30 seconds to a minute, both sides. Last thing to do, lying down, TFL, hip stretch, sort of oblique sideways, good finisher here. You lie down, Feet flat on the floor. Walk your feet out wider than your hips. You're going to slide your butt to the left, drop both knees to the right. I'm stretching my left side here. This might be plenty. I'm already starting to feel it sort of in my waist, my abs, a little bit in my hip. If you want a deeper stretch, you put your right foot on your left leg. I am not pushing down here. I'm just giving the weight of my right leg to my left thigh. Don't be all down on your knee. Try to get it up on the meat of your leg. And I'm actually on my IT band slightly, a little lateral quadricep, but it might be just sensitive having the foot touch your IT band. So just adjust or pat it if you need. And then you allow the weight of your right leg to eventually help lower your left leg some more. This is pretty intense for me on this side. That could be plenty today, or you could stretch your top arm over by your ear. Now you're getting this long stretch through this hip waist area. Show you that on the other side. So you're square to start, feet wider than your hips. Slide your butt to the right. Drop both knees to the left. And then if you want, you would put your left foot on your right leg. And if you would like, you can stretch your right arm up by your ear. I'm going to turn around for a moment because my right waist is actually a little bit jacked up on this in this exercise, and I want to show you something you might be experiencing. So your hips go to the right, your knees fall to the left, your left foot, if you wish, goes on your right leg. I'm way more lifted on this side. You might feel that. That's fine. I mean, try to allow your upper shoulders, your upper back to come to the ground, but you might be more lifted on one side than the other. If your knee is bothering you, either you can't have your foot there, it's just too much, or for me, it just means sometimes I have to reposition the bent leg, this lower leg. Maybe I have to reposition where the shin is, like right to me. That's the perfect place for me with my right leg way more straight. And then I can be here, and then I get a nice stretch, and my right knee doesn't feel tweaky. All right, so that's it. You will probably have questions. Maybe Sam can help you. Maybe you can, I can give your mother can give you my email. Hopefully this helps. Going forward, we'll do a little bit more yoga stuff. I want to hit your sort of chest area, your quads, your hamstrings. So look for those to come. Again, ask questions however you find best, through email or through your trainer or through your mother. And we'll talk soon. Good luck, Davis.